Hey guys, on today's video, I'm going to show you how to cook a bone-in pork picnic shoulder. So we have about an 8.5 pound piece of pork shoulder here. Okay, let me take it out of this nice bowl. You see that it's got the skin on, and you definitely want that. Okay, and you can see here that it does have the bone in it. Okay, but that's not a problem. This is a beautiful piece of meat. It's very cheap, but if you cook it properly, it's one of the best tasting dishes that you can make with pork. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get this ready for brining. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take this knife here and just score the fat. Scoring means you just cut slices into it. And this will actually come in handy for the second part where we actually roast it. So this is a two-part cooking process. First we're going to brine it, and then we're going to roast it. Okay, so now we flip it over, and if you have a boning knife or a nice fillet knife, what you're going to do is stab and twist. Stab and twist. Stab and twist. And what you're doing here is making nice holes into the meat so that the brine goes all the way into the meat. Also, when we roast this, we can stuff, you're going to see we're going to stuff herbs, we're going to stuff garlic cloves in the holes. Okay, so now we have our piece of pork. Let's put this back in the bowl, and now we're going to work on the brine. This is a 6-liter food bucket. Okay, so I have 3 liters of water in here, and what I want to do is I want to make this nice and salty. Alright, so I'm going to add some salt, and then I'm going to stir and let the salt dissolve, and I'm going to keep tasting it. Okay, so I've added about 1/4 cup of salt so far to 3 liters of water. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more. So now we've added about 1/2 cup of refined table salt. Okay, now I have a cup of roughly chopped garlic cloves. Okay, we put those in there. And this is a cup of apple cider vinegar. That goes in there too. That's going to help to tenderize the meat. Okay, so here we have a nice basic garlic brine. Okay, so now we have our brine, and I'm going to put the piece of pork in the brine. Okay, so this is going to go in the fridge for at least 12, but preferably 24 hours, and then we'll continue the recipe. Okay, so it is now officially 24 hours later. This piece of pork came out of the brine. What we're going to do now is move this into a roasting pan, and so let's get to that. Okay, so here's our roasting pan, and what I like to do so that meats don't stick to the bottom is I like to put vegetables like celery or onions. In this case, we're going to do a bunch of onions on the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to get this nice piece of pork here, and what I want to do now is cut some more holes into this pork. So you make kind of like a little X, and then you stick your finger in it. We're gonna stick some spices and cloves of garlic inside the holes. So here I have some nice peeled garlic cloves, and I'm gonna put at least 1 clove in each hole. Just shove it on in there. This is kind of fun. I don't know why it's fun to shove garlic inside of a dead animal, but it does have its pleasure. And now what I want to do is each little hole will get a little bit of oregano. Some thyme. And some black pepper. Alright, so now I'm going to flip this over so that you want the skin side up. Alright, so here I have some salt. Okay, so general rule of thumb when you're roasting something that has a fat cap on it is you don't salt the meat, but you do salt the fat because you want the fat and the skin to break down. Okay, and the salt helps to do that. So you put some salt up here. Okay, and you want to rub the salt into the fat. Okay, this is also going to draw some of the moisture out of the fat, and it's going to help it crisp up later on. All right, so you're going to cover this with a lid and put it in the oven. So here we are at 4.5 hours with 30 minutes left for cooking. So what we're going to do now is see how nice and soft the skin is. We're going to turn it up to 400 just to crisp up the fat on top. Okay, and here we go. This came out of the oven. We've let it rest now for about 10 minutes, and look how delicious this piece of roast picnic pork shoulder looks. It looks absolutely delicious. The meat inside is tender, juicy, flavorful, and then here we have this nice crispy outer skin. Look at this crispy fat. Oh my god. If you like pork rinds, this is like an added bonus. So check this out. So you take like a little piece like this. See? And listen to this. Oh my god. So good. So this is how I cook this. I put this in the roasting pot, covered it, and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 4.5 hours. And then for the last half an hour, so for the last 30 minutes, I took the lid off and put the heat up to 400 degrees, and that's what made the skin so nice and crispy. All right, now let's do what you've all been waiting for. Let's cut into this beautiful piece of pork. So check this out. It's so soft you can actually just take a fork. Okay, look at this. Oh, the skin is so nice. Oh yeah. Look at this nice crispy skin. Oh my god, look at that. Oh boy. And look at this. You can just take this apart with a fork. Just like that. Look how juicy and flavorful this is. Well, you can't see how flavorful it is, but I can tell you. Look at that juicy, juicy meat. The brine made it retain all its juices. Now let's taste it. You can taste all the spices, the garlic. Like I said, it retained all its juices because of the brine. Beautiful, beautiful piece of pork. The whole thing cost me like $10. Like I said, this is a really cheap piece of meat. You do have to make a little bit of effort to cook it, but it's so worth it in the end. Well, thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave your comments below. I'd love to hear your questions, or if you've tried this, let me know how it worked out for you. And please hit that subscribe button. Your subscriptions help me make more videos.